This is the time of year that Jackie looks forward to because we're talking about eating stuff that you can have around for a little while, Jackie.
Well, there's proper ways of doing things, and if you're going to eat healthier, as Sheree Clark is always telling us about, there's ways to do it, but there's ways of making it really tasty and healthy at the same time. So I love things like banana chips. They're one of my favorite go-to snacks, and you think you're eating healthier, but you're here to tell us that's not always the case.
Definitely not always the case.
Is that based on the kind of banana chips that you get?
It can be. The basic thing is anything that we can make ourselves is going to be healthier every time because we know what's going into it and we know what's being left out of it. So this is an example of a packaged banana chip thing, and if a lot of people who've heard me do public presentations have seen me with this very bag of banana chips I probably have for 5 years.
It's still good?
It's still good, and it'll taste exactly the same as it did 5 years ago. And the reason that I bring this along is because a lot of parents in particular will say to me, well, I don't give my kids Hostess cookies and
Ho-Hos,
yeah, those things. And so I give them things like banana chips, and I say, okay, great, let's take a look at this package and let's read the ingredient list, shall we? So the first ingredient's good news.
It's going to be bananas.
It's going to be bananas.
Yay. Okay, that's good.
Not organic because this is an organic product, but we'll give that a pass out. Second ingredient is coconut oil. I'm not sure why, but we're adding a little bit of fat. Coconut oil is fine. I'll eat coconut oil. I put it on my skin. It's not a bad thing. I don't know why it's in here, but I'll give that a pass out too. The third ingredient is where I start to go off the rails. It's sugar.
Right.
And sometimes it's high fructose corn syrup.
Right.
Easy for me to say.
High fructose corn syrup.
We shouldn't need that.
We should not need it, and we should definitely not need the fourth ingredient, which is banana flavor.
Oh.
No.
So
They're bananas.
Right.
They're going to taste like bananas.
Right. So I made you banana chips today, and I used a single ingredient.
How novel of you.
A banana. So how are these made exactly?
Well, I started with, this is an organic banana, and the way that we can tell is because it says on the label, and the PLU, or the price lookup number, starts with a 9. It's 5 digits. We've talked about that before, instead of being a 4-digit number. Now, a banana doesn't have to be organic, but I chose to get them. The price point wasn't that much higher, so I did it. I let the bananas get to be speckly and brown, which means that the sugars have come to the forefront.
Right, they're a little more sweet.
Exactly. So that way, when I make your banana chips, I don't have to add any additional sugar. They're already sweet enough. So that's part of the key.
I want to go back to something you said, if I may interrupt you.
Please.
You said it's not a big deal that it's not organic, and I'm assuming that's because you peel it.
Correct. And because it's not a high water content, and because it's not a heavily sprayed fruit or vegetable.
Okay.
Okay.
So there are some that we would want, like strawberries are very sprayed and have a lot of things, so we'd want to be careful with those. I take the bananas, I slice them, I put them in a single row on the dehydrator sheet, and then I put them in the dehydrator until I feel like taking them out.
So one layer is what you mean. You don't just put one little row of these, one layer
one layer across
you
everything.
can make quite a few.
Yeah.
I can make a whole bunch. I would say 4 or 5 bananas would fit on here. I slice yours thin because I like mine thin and crunchy, so you can go ahead and try those.
Okay, and you mentioned you keep them in the dehydrator for as long as you want. Now, like she has these, you see I just broke this one apart. They are crunchy like chips, which are really good, but maybe some people like them a little leathery.
Chewy, yeah, and then take them out sooner. It's all good.
Why would you need sugar on this?
The funny thing is that these taste better than
the packaged
ones, the ones that have all of the extra sugar and coconut oil and things like
and
that.
preservatives. The other thing that sends me over the edge is that this doesn't tell you there's preservatives in here, but there has to be.
There has to be.
Yeah.
If you've been carrying that same bag around for 5 years, there has to be
there's got to be
preservatives
in here.
in there. So tell us a little bit, dehydration. You know, when we think, I know you're raw, so you don't think about cooking, but there's a difference. Like I love kale chips.
Yes.
I put them in my oven. It's not a bad thing. It's I'm trying to eat healthier, and that's one way of doing so. But there's a difference from dehydration to actually cooking something in your oven.
And some of it is the degrees, the amount of heat that's in there. So when you cook something in the oven, my dehydrator will go as low as 100 degrees. Your oven probably only goes to about 125, and that would be on warm. The second thing is that the air inside of your oven is very still. It doesn't move around. And so, and our meteorologist could probably explain that moving air does some different things to the process. So in the dehydrator, there's a fan in the back, and it blows the air over the front. So we're truly drying or removing the moisture from the food.
But not the benefits of the food itself.
Right, because I'm heating it at low temperature, so I'm keeping the vitamins, minerals, and enzymes intact.
Now, some folks have convection type ovens that do have a dehydrator or
Yes.
DH setting on them. If you have those, that is
You're
awesome.
you're in heaven.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're good
exactly.
to go.
Wonderful. Okay, so what else did you dehydrate for us this morning?
Okay, also on the same plate that has your banana chips, I've got a savory item for you, and that savory item is onion bread.
Ooh.
Because,
Onion bread.
you know, we love our breads and we love our carbs, and this is a really nice, savory, quite oniony.
That's good.
Flavor.
You can smell it.
Yeah. It's
Very
gluten-free, so it's a bread that I didn't use any flour in, and so
Really?
so the material that holds it together, or what you would think of as being a flour type material, is sunflower seeds and flax seeds.
Nice.
So it's a crispier bread.
great flavor.
Again, I could
It's a
make,
little pliable.
yes, and I could make it more pliable again by taking it out sooner. But I like it to have a little bit of crunch to it. So, and I use this. This is a real treat. I use it as the crust for pizza. So
Ooh, that
I'll
would be
use
good.
I make a big
what a
round one
great
of those.
idea.
Yeah. So you don't need to put a lot of like gooey cheese and those kinds of things because there's so much flavor in that. You can tell. This is like might want a breathman after you eat
Yeah,
the
this
onion
is
bread.
very oniony, but I love onions.
Yes,
This is
me
delightful.
too.
That is great.
Another thing you can make,
A
granola?
dessert. Yes, I made a granola for you. Here's the container that I keep mine in, and I have it on the counter at all times. I've always got some granola. You can eat it as a snack out of hand, or I put some homemade walnut milk on it for you, so you could also eat as a breakfast cereal. It's really tasty. Included in here, this is also a gluten-free because I've used strictly nuts and seeds. Also some dried fruit. I've got raisins, and I've got cranberries and.
So what makes it stick together a little bit?
fantastic.
It's clumping together,
It's
which
clumping.
is really good. That's really important. But what do you use to get it to clump?
There's a little bit of maple syrup to sweeten it, and that's a clumper component. And then also I dehydrate the nuts so that they're really full of moisture when I put them together, and then when they dry, they tend to stick together a little bit better.
Really?
Now, one thing
is
that
the
always
best.
you always hear about granola being healthy, but again, if you look at the packages in the supermarket, it's like nothing but sugar, and you'll eat a bunch of granola, think you're being healthy, but really you're not.
You're not. And so this is sweetened with 3 different things: the cranberries, the raisins, and then a little bit of maple syrup. And if you want less sweetener in it, if you want it to be less sweet, just leave some maple syrup out of it. You can also add some more dried fruits if you chose.
This is the best granola I've ever had.
This is awesome.
Isn't that
Yeah.
great?
The flavors are so much better. Now remind everybody, you have a class coming up.
I do. I'm so
If
excited.
you want to learn how to do this.
It's next weekend, and after last year's show, or last week's show, several listeners and viewers signed up, so I'm so excited. We'll all get to meet each other. It's on Saturday the 27th over at Bolton and Hay on the east side. It's a 2-hour class. I'm really excited. Some of the things that we've been eating on the show are things that I'm going to be teaching. I'll go through the basics. How do you buy a dehydrator? How do you dehydrate things just to preserve them, like sun-dried tomatoes and those kinds of things.
Oh, okay.
So,
Now,
lots of
are the
things.
class sizes limited? Is this?
The class size is limited, yep, and I'm over half full, so I've got to, if you're going to sign up, you really need to do that.
All right, this is good, and you learn how to make all these really cool things. And if nothing else,
good.
go to the class just to learn how to make the granola.
And if you have more questions, want more incredible recipes, where's the best place
You're
to
going to
go?
need to contact me at fork-road.com, or you can drop me an email at info@fork-road.com. Call me. The phone number's on the website. If you've got questions about the class, I really want to have the full class, and it'd be fun for some of our viewers to meet each other.
There you
It
go.
would be.
That'd be awesome.
Really quickly, just because we're not using preservatives, what's the shelf life for things
It
like
depends on how you store it. On the countertop, this will last a month or more.
Really?
Just what'll happen is it might just get a little soggy. I can crisp it up by putting it back in the dehydrator.
Okay.
In the refrigerator, a couple of months. In the freezer, up to a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Make a whole bunch then.
And learn
Okay.
more
Yeah.
facts like that by heading to the class next Saturday.
We're gonna chew on more bananas here.
I know they're so good. They're
And
so
we'll
good.
be right back. You're watching Great Data Live on KCWI, Doc.